True love transcends logic. It is a calling from the depths of the soul, not a decision made by the ego. When two souls are destined, life arranges sacred patterns, divine alignments, not explainable by chance. We are often kept from true love by the unhealed parts of ourselves. Only by facing the shadow can love be received fully. Each of us carries a divine counterpart within, our inner feminine or masculine, and we are drawn to partners who reflect this inner image. What seems like a barrier is often a rite of passage meant to strengthen the bond. True love grows through trials, not in spite of them. When destiny calls two people together, their love is not just for themselves. It becomes an alchemical force that brings healing and purpose to the world. We are all works in progress, unfinished masterpieces shaped by time, experience, and the silent hands of something greater than ourselves. True love, the kind that moves mountains and defies explanation, is never rushed. It doesn't arrive in the calm before the storm. It often is the storm, the sacred disturbance that awakens us from spiritual slumber and pulls us toward our deepest becoming. In the beginning, we search for love with the eyes of the ego. We want safety, comfort, validation. We believe love will complete us because we feel incomplete. But destiny does not hand us comfort. It gives us fire. It leads us not to someone who soothes our insecurities, but to someone who unconsciously activates them not to harm us, but to heal us. For love to be real, eternal, it must first break the parts of us that are false. You see, the soul recognizes its mirror long before the mind can understand it. There is an ancient memory that stirs when we meet the one who carries the other half of our spiritual code. It's not just chemistry, it's recognition. And when that recognition happens, logic no longer matters. Circumstance, timing, distance, none of these can override the silent agreement made long before birth. When destiny calls, everything else must kneel. But destiny is not gentle. It tests. It waits to see if the love we claim is the love we're willing to suffer for, to transform for. And in that transformation we are sculpted. We become raw, real, undone. Not because love destroys us, but because it demands truth. It calls us to confront the shadows we've avoided, to dismantle the masks we've worn, to face the pain we've buried. Only then can the masterpiece emerge, and the beautiful tragedy is this: the one who is meant for you is not perfect, nor are you. You will trigger one another. You will run. You will fight. But underneath it all, something deeper is happening. Two souls calling each other home. And the friction, the chaos, the longing, that is the fire that forges you both into who you were always meant to become. True love is not the reward. It is the catalyst. So when the world says it's too late, when logic insists it's impossible, when fear tells you to walk away, remember, when destiny calls, nothing can stop true love. Not even you, because this kind of love is not found. It is remembered. It was written before time. And just like a masterpiece, it unfolds one brushstroke at a time, often messy, often painful, but always worth it. You are not just loving. You are being shaped by love itself. And that process, though long and sometimes brutal, is sacred. Because when it's real, love doesn't just change your life, it changes you. There is a knowing within us that defies explanation, a deep, ancient awareness that lives beneath thought, beneath logic, beneath all the stories we've told ourselves about what love is supposed to look like. It's the part of us that cannot be taught or reasoned with, the part that simply knows. It knows when someone is meant to enter our lives, even if everything around us says otherwise. It knows when we are in the presence of something sacred, even if the timing is wrong, even if the circumstances are messy. This is the language of the soul, and it doesn't speak in words. It speaks in feelings, in dreams, in that sudden stillness that overtakes us when we realize we've just met someone who shifts the ground beneath our feet. The soul doesn't need proof. It doesn't care about credentials or checklists. It recognizes something eternal in the other, not the face they wear in the world, but the essence behind it. That recognition is not always gentle. Sometimes it's terrifying because it shakes the foundations of everything we thought we wanted. It calls into question every decision made from the mind, every plan, every barrier we constructed to keep ourselves safe. Suddenly, we are faced with a love that doesn't make sense. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for us to be ready. It simply is. And when that kind of love appears, we are torn. The mind will resist it. It will argue. It will try to make sense of it, to control it, to fit it into something neat and predictable. But love born of the soul cannot be tamed. It arrives with the force of something ancient and wild, something that remembers where you've been, who you are, and who you are meant to become. It doesn't speak to your ego. It speaks to the part of you that's been waiting lifetimes over to be seen. Sometimes that recognition shows up in a single look, a silence, a touch. There's no timeline, no rational explanation. But in that moment, you feel it, a shift, a pull, an awakening. And even if you try to walk away, part of you will always carry the imprint of that connection. It becomes a mirror, reflecting not only what you desire, but also what you must heal in order to fully receive it. Because the soul doesn't just recognize, it remembers. And in that remembrance, it beckons us toward transformation, toward surrender, toward a kind of love that burns through illusion and invites us to live in truth. It may not come easy. It may not unfold the way we hoped. But what the soul knows is this: when love is real, when it is written in the depths of who we are, the mind doesn't need to understand. It only needs to follow. There are moments in life when something clicks into place so perfectly, so impossibly aligned, that we cannot help but feel the invisible hand of something greater at work. We call it coincidence, chance, luck, but deep down we know it's something more. These are not random occurrences. They are whispers from the divine, signs from the unseen realm that reality is not as chaotic as it seems. This is the nature of synchronicity, the meeting of outer events with inner meaning, the mysterious dance between fate and free will. And when it comes to love, synchronicity is often the very language destiny speaks. Two people cross paths at precisely the right time, or the seemingly wrong time, and yet something in the timing feels inevitable. A missed train, a sudden change in plans, a random conversation, and suddenly the course of two lives shifts forever. These are not mere accidents. These are threads woven long before either person was aware. Love that is born through synchronicity feels destined because it is. It is the convergence of countless invisible alignments that bring two souls together in a way the rational mind could never predict or manufacture. And it often arrives when we least expect it, when we've given up, stopped searching, or decided we're not ready. That's the paradox of synchronicity. It doesn't ask for your readiness. It arrives when the soul is ready, even if the ego is not. It can feel inconvenient. It can challenge everything you thought you knew. But deep down, something inside you recognizes the moment. It feels like déjà vu, like waking from a dream you didn't realize you were in. And in that moment, you know, this isn't chance, this is alignment. When love emerges through synchronicity, it carries a sense of timelessness. It doesn't need explanation, only presence. There's often a series of signs, not just external ones, but internal confirmations. A dream, a sudden intuition, a peace that descends despite the chaos. It's as if the universe is nodding in your direction, urging you to pay attention. These are not just emotional reactions. They are soul-level cues that you're stepping into a story far larger than yourself. But synchronicity is not just about the beauty of a meeting. It's also about the invitation that follows. It asks us to trust what we feel more than what we can explain. It asks us to surrender control and lean into the unknown. Because this kind of love is not built, it is revealed. And when it's revealed, it does more than connect two hearts. It confirms to us that there is order in the chaos, that the universe is alive and intelligent, and that love, true love, is never random. It is the poetry of the cosmos, written in the language of synchronicity. Before love can truly take root, before it can grow into something enduring and transformative, there is a reckoning that must occur, not with the other person, but with the self. Deep, soul-level love doesn't simply arrive and heal us. It exposes what still needs to be healed. It draws out the hidden wounds, the buried fears, the unspoken insecurities. This is the realm of the shadow, the part of ourselves we deny, avoid, and suppress. And yet, it is this very confrontation that creates the space for real love to flourish. Most people long for love that is whole, deep, and unshakable, but few are prepared for what that kind of love demands. Because it doesn't just comfort, it reveals. It puts a mirror in front of you and reflects back not just your beauty, but your brokenness. And it does the same to the one you love. True love is a catalyst, and one of its first movements is to unearth the parts of you that have been kept in the dark. The jealousies, the abandonment fears, the shame, the parts of your past you'd rather forget. All of it surfaces. This isn't cruelty, it's alchemy. The shadow is not our enemy. It is the wounded child, the silenced truth, the unmet need. And love, real love, has the power to awaken it, not to shame it, but to redeem it. But that redemption can only happen if we have the courage to face it, to look into ourselves and say, yes, I carry pain. Yes, I've been afraid. Yes, I've built walls to protect myself from being hurt again. And still, I am willing to let someone in. Still, I am willing to try. We often think love is about compatibility, timing, attraction. But the truth is, love is about self-awareness. It's about being willing to hold your own wounds without projecting them onto someone else. It's about recognizing when your reactions are not about the present moment, but about a past that still lives in your nervous system. The shadow doesn't disappear because someone loves you. It softens because you finally see it, and invite someone else to see it too. And when two people are willing to do this work, when both are brave enough to look at their shadows, not with judgment, but with compassion, something extraordinary happens. The love between them becomes more than romance. It becomes sacred. It becomes a sanctuary where truth is welcome, where healing is possible, where masks are no longer needed. And in that space, love grows, not as a fantasy, but as a fierce living reality. So before love can flourish, the shadow must be seen. Not defeated, not erased, but embraced. Because only when we bring our whole selves, light and dark, strength and weakness, can we be fully loved. Not for who we pretend to be, but for who we truly are. Within each of us lies a silent longing, not just for another person, but for a part of ourselves we have yet to meet. Deep beneath the surface of our conscious identity exists a hidden counterpart, the anima within the man, the animus within the woman. These are not mere gendered traits or psychological concepts. They are the inner faces of our soul, the sacred, opposites that guide us toward wholeness. And though they live within us, we often encounter them first in the outer world, through the pull of love. When we fall in love, we are not just drawn to a person. We are drawn to something deeper that they awaken in us. The person becomes a mirror, reflecting back the lost parts of ourselves. A man may fall in love with a woman not merely because of her beauty or kindness, but because something in her stirs his inner feminine, the intuitive, emotional, creative force that he has long silenced or forgotten. A woman may feel magnetically pulled toward a man because he embodies strength, direction, or mystery, qualities that echo her own inner masculine. This is not dependency, it is recognition. The soul sees in the other what it has been searching for within. But this recognition is not without confusion or illusion. Often, we project our inner anima or animus onto the other, expecting them to complete us, to carry what we have not yet claimed in ourselves. We make them into symbols, idealized versions of the inner figures we have not fully integrated. And so love becomes both a revelation and a challenge. It reveals our longing for wholeness, but it also tests us, asking whether we will continue to search for completion outside ourselves, or whether we will begin the deeper work of integration. True love invites us not to lose ourselves in another, but to find ourselves through them. The one we are drawn to may ignite passion, creativity, even chaos. But these are signals that the soul is being stirred, that the inner union is calling. The goal is not to possess the other or be possessed by them, but to awaken to the fact that what we seek in them is also within us. The anima and animus are not meant to remain external. They are bridges to our inner transformation. And when we begin to honor this process, love becomes a path to individuation, to becoming whole. The relationship ceases to be just about companionship or romance. It becomes sacred ground, a crucible in which both souls are refined. In the fire of love, we confront our wounds, reclaim our gifts, and begin to embody the fullness of who we are. The other is no longer just a lover. They are a guide, a mirror, a key. So when the anima and animus stir within us, when we feel that undeniable pull towards someone who awakens the deepest parts of us, it is not mere attraction. It is destiny calling us to remember who we truly are. Love, in its highest form, is not about completion through another. It is about wholeness revealed through the mirror of the other. And in that revelation, we find not only each other, we find ourselves. When love arises with the force of destiny, it rarely comes without resistance. Life does not simply roll out a smooth path for the kind of love that transforms you. Instead, it places trials in your way, distance, timing, misunderstandings, personal wounds, external pressures. To the ordinary mind, these appear as barriers, as signs that the love is not meant to be. But from the deeper perspective of the soul, these are not blockades. They are initiations. They are sacred tests, designed not to break the bond, but to refine the people within it. Every meaningful connection will encounter resistance. It is the nature of transformation to bring friction, but we are not being punished by these difficulties. We are being shaped. What seems like a delay is often a divine alignment. What feels like a rejection can be a redirection into deeper truth. Obstacles in love are not there to stop the relationship. They are there to evolve it. They ask the lovers, are you willing to grow? Are you willing to shed your ego, your impatience, your fear? Are you willing to face yourself? Because love is not just a feeling, it is a journey of initiation. And like any true initiation, it demands courage, humility, and the willingness to endure discomfort for the sake of becoming more. The challenges are not random. They are tailored to the exact wounds that need healing in each person. They expose what has been hidden, what has been feared, what has not yet been mastered. And in facing them, both people are invited to rise into higher versions of themselves, not just for the sake of the relationship, but for the sake of their own inner evolution. There may be moments when you feel like giving up, when the pain of the obstacles feels heavier than the hope of the love. But those are the moments that matter most. That's where the transformation takes place, not in the blissful early days, but in the crucible of difficulty, where your soul decides whether it will retreat back into safety or step forward into the unknown. Love that is worth enduring always contains within it a threshold, and crossing that threshold is a choice. It's the choice to see the obstacle not as a sign to turn back, but as a gate that must be passed through. And those who pass through emerge changed, stronger, wiser, more attuned to what love truly is, something sacred, something earned, something alive. So if you find yourself facing obstacles on the path of love, know this: you are not being denied, you are being prepared. The obstacle is the rite of passage. It is the proving ground where illusion is burned away and truth is revealed. When destiny calls, love will rise, but only if both souls are willing to walk through the fire and trust that the flame is not there to destroy, but to purify. That is the alchemy of true love, and it does not come easy, but it is always, always worth it. When two souls truly unite, not in possession, not in fantasy, but in raw, sacred authenticity, something greater is born. It is not merely the merging of two lives or the blending of two personalities. It is the awakening of a third force, something that neither person could access alone. This kind of union is not transactional or surface level. It is transformative. It becomes a vessel through which higher truths flow, where divine energy moves and where healing, purpose, and profound creation are possible. This is why real love feels larger than life, because it is. When soul recognizes soul, the ego begins to fade, masks fall away, defenses dissolve, and in their place a deeper self emerges, one that has been waiting for this kind of mirror, this kind of safety, this kind of calling. You do not lose yourself in the other. Instead, you become more of who you truly are, and so do they. The union creates a space where both can expand without fear, where both can be fully seen and still fully accepted. This kind of love is not about completing each other. It's about activating each other. One soul's presence awakens dormant qualities in the other. Creativity surges, vision sharpens, the past begins to heal, even the pain becomes purposeful. You begin to realize that the relationship itself is a living force, a sacred container for the work of the soul. It demands honesty, it requires growth, but in return it offers something infinitely rare, a love that evolves with you, that stretches and deepens as you do. And when two people honor this process, when they say yes, not only to each other, but to the becoming that the union demands, they begin to touch a level of consciousness that transcends ordinary existence. The relationship becomes a kind of sacred temple, a place where the divine speaks, where synchronicities multiply, where both people feel they are part of something eternal. It's no longer just about romance or partnership. It's about mission. It's about healing ancestral wounds. It's about birthing something that didn't exist before, a shared soul space that changes both lives and sometimes the world around them. Of course, this kind of union is rare, not because it is impossible, but because it requires depth, patience, and the willingness to shed everything that is false. It requires the courage to confront shadows, to endure the fire of transformation, and to love not just when it's easy, but when it stretches you. Yet for those who walk this path, the reward is nothing less than sacred. They discover a love that transcends time, a connection that lives beyond physical form, and a purpose that carries the energy of the infinite. The union of souls is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a new one marked by truth, growth, and the quiet power of two hearts that have remembered who they are. In their merging, they create not just a relationship, but a force of light in the world. Something greater, something divine. When destiny calls, it doesn't speak to the mind, it speaks to the soul. And when true love answers that call, no force in the world can stand in its way. This love is not ordinary. It is not fleeting or shallow. It is not built on convenience or circumstance. It is a sacred force, a meeting of two souls who have been drawn together not by chance, but by divine orchestration. Their journey may be marked by trials, by inner battles, by shadow work and waiting. But every challenge is an invitation, every delay a preparation. Because the love that is written in the language of the soul must be earned with the currency of transformation. This kind of love reveals you to yourself. It stretches you, breaks you open, heals you. It asks you to confront the very parts of you that you've spent a lifetime hiding. And through that confrontation, through that raw and sometimes painful unfolding, you become whole. The other person is not your completion. They are your mirror, your trigger, your guide. They do not rescue you, they awaken you. And if both people are willing to grow, to heal, to walk through the fires of uncertainty, then something extraordinary happens. The connection becomes an initiation. The relationship becomes an alchemical vessel, and the love, now tested and transformed, becomes unshakable. It transcends distance, time, and fear. It becomes a union not just of bodies or minds, but of purpose, a love that serves something greater than the self. So if you find yourself pulled towards someone with a force you cannot explain, if your soul recognizes what the mind cannot comprehend, trust that you are not imagining it, you are remembering it. And remember this: obstacles do not mean it's over. They mean the sacred work has begun. Because when destiny calls, nothing, not fear, not distance, not even time, can stop true love. It may take everything from you, but it will give you back your true self. And in the union of two whole, awakened souls, something eternal is born. Something the world desperately needs. Love that is real, love that is fierce, love that is free. Weishu,